Ni lini ilikuwa hatia kuwa rafiki wa Deputy President ambaye ni rafiki wa President wa Kenya aliyemuunga mkono elections 4 ambazo ziliendelea? Wacheni kuweka hatia kwa urafiki. Tuache kutumia polisi kufanya siasa. Kila mwanasiasa ajipange na siasa yake. Tuache mambo ya polisi. Tuache mambo ya EACC. Tuache mambo ya DCI. Tuache mambo ya KRA. Watu wajipange na siasa.
Honorable Kamket, it is the wearer of the shoe that knows where it pinches, but when you listen to the Deputy President and his complaints and continued conversations, why are all these things being done against him? Because he's been complaining about the police, about the DCI, about EACC. If indeed it's true that he's been victimized or his supporters have been victimized, why?
Well, it depends on what they are doing, because the best example is my friend here, Deputy Governor Mangi, because when they were not actually arrested, when they were picked and to be hidden somewhere for the president to.
Why don't you call it arrest?
Because they were not arrested. Were they charged? They were not arrested. They are just bad-mannered people who had to be to be hidden somewhere, because they had exhibited bad manners a week earlier when they fought. You remember what Osoro did? He went and, can you imagine going for your friends or your colleagues' jugular when there is a coffin just lying there? And the coffin.
It was the funeral of DJ's father.
I'm saying the coffin was for Honorable Mahangi's father. So these are people who have demonstrated extreme bad manners, really. And from what I heard, Mahangi will tell us more, that they were planning to disrupt the funeral of Mzee Nyachai, Mr. Mahangi here, and Osoro. That's why they were picked and just went to be kept aside until the funeral was over. Then they were not charged. So it depends on what people do. Okay, but you cannot suspend the law just because you are a friend of Deputy President. Okay, if you break the law, the law cuts both sides.
Do you feel the law has been applied equally to both supporters of the Deputy President and those that are not his supporters?
Me, I am a supporter of the President. I was arrested the other week. Okay, and for issues related to my constituency. So it does not matter when there is something the system or the law enforcement agencies think that you have something to explain, you have to explain. So I do not think that they are being targeted unfairly. I think that is a fallacy, and I think they're trying to whip up public emotion.
There's something I want to show you that is to do with some events that occurred in Nakuru over the weekend. Do you have those pictures that I would want us to focus on? Right, we'll get those pictures.
I think these are the pictures of the Senator for Nakuru and Mheshimiwa Ngujiri trying to...
Yes, they were having a campaign meeting.
They're trying to go into a meeting which they had not notified police about. See, when you do things right, the police will not bother with you. They had not notified the police accordingly.
And do you always notify the police to hold a meeting?
Yes, that is the law. It's public.
I'm asking about you.
I do that all the time, yes. All the time. It is the best thing to do.
Okay, let's take a look at those pictures.
Yeah.
Boss. Usirushe. Don't throw. Unataka ende ya. Okay, zaka scam, wacha gari. But don't throw.
So you laugh. Why?
I'm laughing because for far too long my brother here, Anthony Oluoja, has been eating tear gas. You know, so you know this world is ours. This republic, we all live in this country. So it is their turn now to eat.
When you say ours, what do you mean?
I'm saying Oluoja has been eating tear gas all this time. So it's time for the deputy president and his people also to eat tear gas. You know, these things go like this and like this. So
really, that's what I'm asking you. Is it fair?
No, I'm saying there's nothing about fairness or non-fairness. When you do not notify police that you're going to do a particular meeting somewhere, we expect police to come and intervene, because that we live in a country of law and order.
Okay. As you talk about that, I'm reading Article 147 of the Constitution on the functions of the Deputy President, and the DP shall be the principal assistant of the President and shall deputize for the President in the execution of the President's functions. The DP shall perform the functions conferred by this Constitution and any other functions of the President as the President may assign. And subject to Article 134, when the President is absent or is temporarily incapacitated, and during any other period that the President decides, the DP shall act as President, and the Deputy President shall not hold any other state office or public office. And Honorable Oluocha, you read that and you look at the explanation of what the functions of the DP are, there's nothing clear or specific function that he is supposed to execute. Does it bother you that it may have led us to where we are at a time that the President and the Deputy are not getting along, but they have to continue to remain in office because of the Constitution?
Yes and no. You see, the Constitution cannot write into itself how you relate. It cannot put into the Constitution itself issues to do with morals, about manners, about conduct. You may put up to the last letter that, you know, the Deputy President shall be the Deputy and also the Minister for this and the other. But if you have two people who are not pulling together in the same direction, I think the assumption when you have political arrangements is that people will be able to carry through the arrangements that they have. That you cannot write into the Constitution. Mm-hmm. I don't see myself that there is anything more that could have been put into this Constitution. I think what remains is about management of how people who decided to set out on a certain journey. And I think obviously something went terribly wrong. And I've said before what I think to be what went wrong. I think the Deputy President, borrowing from how other deputies, including the late President Daniel Arap Moi, I think we have other vice presidents whose demeanor has style, set a president that should have lent itself to this current deputy on how he should conduct himself. Mm-hmm. I don't think there is anything else that could have been written here. And I want to add the historical underpinnings of why we wrote into the Constitution how to remove the Deputy President was to insulate him from what used to be roadside declarations where, you know, the Deputy or the Vice President, then Saitoti, fired at 1 o'clock news, and then after 6 months or so, you know, the President comes and says that, you know, this Vice President does not add ugali or whatever, but if you want it, chukua. Yeah? So the Constitution then protected that mischief that the President would use to hire and fire a deputy, so that there was certainty and consistency
but
in
leaving
government.
The Constitution without specific functions, doesn't it leave the Deputy President vulnerable that if the President doesn't want to delegate anything to you, then you're left idle, so to speak?
That is possible, and there is no indication that the President has not been delegated to duties. I'll give you a recent example. The Deputy President has been going or talking about BBI and saying, you know, kama hatujatekeleza the 35, the 15% that we put in the Constitution, how will we achieve the 35? And guess what? The Deputy President is the one who chairs the committee. I think it's called IBEC or something like that. IBEC. And just 2 weeks after he made those pronouncements, he was actually sitting in that chair as IBEC and celebrating and congratulating himself and other governors for having made that stride. So how can you on the one hand be saying things about government, saying that you are being hounded out of government, not being given responsibilities, and clearly we see those responsibilities are there. The President is busy implementing things. These things he keeps saying that he wants to do in another different way. Why can't he sit and say, if the Constitution does not provide for me a specific delegated duty designated as a ministry, I will do what the President is doing. The President is launching roads, that is his infrastructure agenda. He's doing things in schools. He's doing things to do with water and security and other things. That is the function that the Deputy President ought to consider as what's the Constitution, because the Constitution here says that he is the principal assistant.
Right.
So therefore, assist. He also does what else the President delegates for him to do.
Okay. And DG,
can I just say one word to what he said? That the Constitution has insulated the office. Okay, so there is no roadside sacking or appointment. But at the same time, it has put the President in a lot of trouble, because when you disagree fundamentally, like there is the current disagreement, you can't fire. So you have this person tied to you for the rest of your term, and you're completely working. Your ideas and ideals are diametrically opposed.
You don't like that?
I mean, it's a bad situation. So that's why we are in this mess now. On one hand, you're talking about government. The next thing you're criticizing the same government. So it's a very bad situation.
But I think I slightly disagree with that approach. I think the philosophical underpinnings was trite. That the Deputy President once appointed, they ought to serve. I think if we leave it to the whims of the President, and remember, it is not Uhuru and Ruto who are going to be deputy. And there is going to be another president, Kamket and Oluoch, or somebody else in there. So I think we need to preserve what the Constitution was trying to do, and to leave the removal process of a deputy president to what the Constitution says, either gross abuse of the Constitution or written law or anything that is put in terms of what can be impeachable. But I think what now we are seeing here, this is about culture. There is Constitution and there is constitutionalism. When you're a deputy, please act as a deputy in terms of how the Constitution...
The difference in our argument here...
I need to take it to
the difference in our argument here is that he's a legal activist.
Come on now. He's just expressing his opinion. I'm reading the law. The County Governments Act, Section 32, functions of the Deputy Governor. The DG shall take and subscribe to the oath of affirmation as set out in schedule of this Act, and the Deputy Governor shall deputize for the Governor in the execution of the Governor's functions. The Governor may assign the Deputy Governor any other responsibility or portfolio as a member of County Executive Committee, and when acting in office as contemplated in Article 179, Sub-Article 5 of the Constitution, the DG shall not exercise any powers of the Governor to nominate, appoint or dismiss that are assigned to the Governor under the Constitution, and the Governor shall not delegate to the Deputy Governor any of the functions referred to in subsection 4. So I'm just wondering, what do you do at Kisii County Government?
Sam, please allow me, before I come to that, I will answer that very substantively. But before I come to that, allow me to respond to what Kamket said. What Kamket has said about the people who are being tear-gassed in Nakuru and about our situation in Kisii that we were just picked is extremely unfortunate. And it's Orengo who says, Orengo who said that, governments eat their own. And Orengo further said that, this government will punish you, the Jubilee people, more than it will punish us, the ODM people. That's exactly what we're seeing. Let me tell Kamketi, till today you are laughing. Today you are making fun of Mahangis. Today you are making fun of people in Nakuru. But tomorrow it may be you. Be very careful what you wish for. Because what happened in Kisii, in my father's funeral, Mheshimiwa Osoro and Mheshimiwa Simba Arati fought, which was extremely unfortunate. And as the host, I intervened and appealed for calmness. And calmness came back, and Tiratu Barera Morodinga spoke to the mourners, the Deputy President spoke to the mourners, and that ended. But when Musenya Jaya was being buried, Arati was conspicuously allowed to attend the funeral. But Mahangi and Osoro, who are supposedly on the other side of the political leaning, were not allowed. If that's not favoritism, what is that? Secondly, allow me to explain this. There is a narrative that has been created that we wanted to disrupt Nyajai's funeral. Nothing can be further from the truth. If you wish to know, Charles Nyajai, who's Nyajai's firstborn son, is my best friend. There's no way I could have arranged to disrupt this funeral.
All right. DJ, I've actually spoken to you previously and you've made that point very clear, but specifically because you're talking about the troubled deputies,
yes.
Many deputy governors don't get along with your governors, and you can see what's happening at the top.
Yes.
And I asked you a specific question because the functions under the Constitution are not very clear on what you should be doing.
I was only going to take one minute in explain this, then I come to that.
No, I want you to go straight to that because of time.
Now let me tell you something about deputies. I agree with the Lodge that principally this issue of deputies differing their posts is because of, I will say for lack of a better word, is because of fear by the principals that their deputies might outshine them. Mm-hmm. Legally, a deputy is supposed to be the principal assistant to the boss, to the president or to the governor. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, what is so difficult in the governor doing his job and the deputy governor doing his job? What's difficult in the president doing his job and the deputy president doing his job? It is because maybe the president or the governor is interested in furthering a particular interest. He wants to further a particular interest that may not favor that of the deputy, and he chooses to exclude the deputy from the seat. Now, let me tell you something. Kamketa said that I'm always a drug artist with my governor. No. It is that sometimes I have strong opinions which I air. Now, when you air a strong opinion and your principal is uncomfortable, and because he's controlling the tools of naked power, then he makes it look like you're the one offending him. When the real sense, you're not offending him. You're doing your job as a principal assistant.
So
as a principal assistant, remember, your work is not only to worship your boss, but your work also, in fact, if you look at that act, is also your principal duty is to counsel the boss. So if I come and give you my counsel and you refuse to take it, and instead you want to make it look like I am undermining you, what am I supposed to do?
DJ Mangi, what do you do in Kisii?
I am the principal assistant to the governor of Kisii. I not only counsel him, but I also assist him in the day-to-day running of the Kisii county government.
How busy are you?
Very busy.
At the moment?
Yes. Very busy.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Because we have some bit of information that things are not as rosy as you may want to depict them here.
In life, things will never always be rosy. But you know, in terms of executing your mandate as a principal assistant, there are times you wait to be assigned, there are times you do what has to be done. So if you have not been assigned, you do what has to be done. So if I am not doing what people want me to do, but then I am doing what the law expects me to do, will you blame me? Because one of your cardinal duties as a deputy is to counsel your principal. Now, have you heard my governor complaining that I have failed to execute an assignment that he has allocated to me? I don't think so.
I've heard that line before from the deputy president. But I'm just wondering,
have you heard
the level of assignments that you received from your boss in the first time and now, are they any different? Are you more engaged now or less engaged?
Right now we are approaching elections, and obviously the level of assignments
is too far.
All right, how does to make progress?
But there's something I want to say that is very important. Some allow me to say this place.
Okay.
Because you know there's a narrative that has been perpetuated out there that we wanted to disrupt Mr. Njai's funeral. The truth is that those who wanted to propagate this narrative did not want Deputy President Ruto to receive the massive support that he has been receiving in Kisii. What they wanted to do, wanted to depict a picture where people would think that...
How do you know whether that's true or not?
Because I was there myself. Because I was one to receive him.
It didn't happen.
I was one to accompany him to the stadium, and the people who could have followed him there was going to be so much, they did not want that. What did they do? They went to Luo Nyanza, so to say this, and brought 50 buses of people from Luo Nyanza to come and mourn in Kisii. Why would you hire mourners from outside Kisii County to come and mourn in Kisii?
Okay.
Surely.
Thank you.
What they do not want to do is to see Kisii receiving Ruto with the thunderous approach and the support that he has in Kisii.
Deputy Governor, of course that's your take. I'm just not sure how we will ever know whether that was true or not because it didn't
Investigate.
How? Let's make progress to our final topic of the morning because you're running out of time, and that is to do the state of the race for 2022. And you've seen the quarrel within NASA, some 3 principles saying that it's time for Raila Odinga to kurudisha mkono. Actually, someone translated it to return the hand. Let's listen to what they said.
Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka anatafuta endorsement ya Mwenyezi Mungu peke yake. I don't believe in these political debts. I did what I did to make this country better. It did not happen. Goodness me. I am senior counsel. And that is the highest rank an advocate aspires to. How would I have participated in a mock, illegal, unconstitutional oath? How?
Invest in our brother Raila 30 political years. Sasa we ndugu Raila, this is your time now bwana. To return your hand.
Sisi tunatazama tunaona je, mzee wetu alikuwa amekubali kwamba atafyatue risasi, alafu apeane nafasi Kalonzo naye afyatue yake, Musalia afyatue yake, Weta afyatue yake. Sasa tunaona ndugu yetu ameenda kukopa bunduki ya mwingine, anataka kufyatua tena.
And Raila Odinga, Honorable Oloch, is quoted as saying that they are cowards because they never turned up for the mock swearing in on the 30th of January 2018. You hear the senior counsel there, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, saying that he couldn't imagine appearing for such an illegal activity, he says now. But what does this say about coalition forming as we walk to the 2022 election?
Yeah, I think the silly political season has begun, and I use this word advisedly. I think you saw it began with the alleged endorsement that was being sought by Ruto from the president, the Tano Yangu, and then Yako Tano, and then of course the 360 degrees that I'm not seeking anybody's endorsement. So that silly season has begun. There has also been this perception that BBI was about Raila seeking endorsement of Uhuru, and you've seen the kind of disquiet it has caused in Central. And I think both of them came out and said, you know, nowhere have we spoken about 2022. Then lastly now, I think this is the latter part of this political season that has begun, the NASA team. And you must look at this against the context of, these are players who've been in the political field together. How they craft and message their issues sometimes looks a little bit harsh. But then now, what I find a little strange is, on the one hand, to say, Raila umefwetua binduki yako, now the one that you're trying to use belongs to somebody else. Literally what you're saying is that you're looking for the endorsement, and you hear what some of them spoke about, that we have supported you for the last 30 years, now it's time to support us. So really what that messaging seems to suggest is that we are looking for your support. In my view, from where I stand, there is nothing wrong for a political leader to seek the support of somebody they have been with. I think how you craft it is the coalition mechanisms and mechanics in the making going into 2022. And really for me, from where I come from, these have been my party NASA leaders, and it puts me in a very cumbersome situation to speak either ill or not ill about them. But I am a member of ODM, and I can speak as a member of ODM that, you know, when Raila Odinga will decide whether he wants to run or not run, I think it will be up to him to say whether he wants to lend support to anybody, and I think it would be foolhardy for anybody to try and pour cold water on and if that time comes, he may decide to run. But assuming, for example, that he doesn't run, I think that it's not helping that somebody else would want to speak in the manner in which we are seeing now speaking. But I think it's about the political silly season that has begun, and the coalition making going into 2022. And we'll see a lot of these happenings. And don't be surprised, because in the process of all these, you never know who is going into what coalition with who.
Okay.
Yeah.
And already we are seeing images of your party leader, or is it KANU chairman Gideon Moi, alongside the two gentlemen, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, and Moses Wetangula. What is the thinking? Because we hear them say that they are going to work together. Shall we see another coalition of the four?
No. Where we are as KANU now, we are more keen on the passage of BBI because we believe BBI will solve most of these issues we are squabbling about as politicians, apart from, of course, sorting out the issues of the citizens. But the issues that we are squabbling about as politicians will be sorted out by this BBI. So as KANU, currently, we are more focused on the passage of BBI. And there's going to be a lot of political arrangements post-BBI. Those four NASA leaders, Raila, Kalonzo, Mudavadi, Weta, and the rest, and even Ali, Joe, they're all our friends. I am sure we will we will come together.
What is the thinking in KANU? Do you want to run for presidency, or you to be part of another?
The Senator Gideon Moi is definitely focused on running for president. In 2022, yes. But, you know, we are realistic enough to know that we can't travel that journey alone. And that's what we are doing. That's why we're trying to herd these people together, our friends in NASA, and even including the president himself and his people, so we can bring these people together. Because it's not, it's very easy to declare, to announce that I'm going to run, and then what?
Honorable Kamket, just clarify here that you're saying on Citizen TV that Senator Gideon Moi will run for presidency in 2022?
Yes. I have said that Senator Gideon Moi will run for president in 2022. That's what I've just said. But I'm saying, as KANU now, we are more focused on the passage of BBI. Once we finish with BBI, as we do that, we are talking amongst ourselves. Because, you know, you cannot win alone. You can't.
How will he maneuver the Rift Valley region, where it is said that there is the battle between Senator Moi and DP Ruto?
You know, Gideon Moi does not want to become president of Rift Valley. He wants to become. He wants to become president of Kenya. And so we will. That's why we are trying. I don't want to reveal too much. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes, and it will become clearer moving forward as we try to cobble up this coalition.
And how does BBI help the candidacy of Senator Gideon Moi?
It's not only Gideon Moi. It will help all these big political players, because, you know, look at.
No, I'm asking that because look at
the proposal look at the seats at the top. So perhaps if we have an agreement with Luoch here, I can be the president. Luoch can be something
just
else.
Senator Moi will be the president.
I'm just, you know, I am being economical here a little bit, because
indeed you are.
Yes, because I have to. Because there is going to be a lot of alignment and realignment post BBI, and I am sure we are in the thick of it.
Senator Moi, Honorable Kamket says that Senator Moi will be on the ballot in 2022. What is your thinking about these alliances? I know you had earlier said that it is going to be Raila versus Ruto if it's going to be a juicy election. But with all these alliances forming between the three NASA principals and the Senator of Baringo, what do you think is going to happen?
Sam, I agree with Kamketi that anybody can declare that he wants to run for president. Running for president is one thing, and winning is another thing. In 2002, Raila Odinga was a candidate for president. But after calculating and realized that he had no chance, he said Kibaki Tosha. And Kibaki surely won. In 2013, when Raila was running for president, Musalia and all these other people also ran for president. But Kalonzo Musyoka, after assessing, he realized that Raila had a better chance of becoming president. He supported Raila and became running mate. The same thing in 2017. Now, when you are both candidates and you choose to deputize the other, it means that you have accepted that the other is better than you. Now, it is ridiculous for Kalonzo to come back and say that because I supported Raila in 2013, Raila must support me now. That's not correct, because he supported Raila in 2013 because deep down in his heart, he knew he had no chance. So he should leave Raila also to decide deep down from his heart that I have no chance and Kalonzo has a chance, and therefore let me support Kalonzo. You do not run for a seat because if you choose to deputize another person, even me, I chose to deputize Ongwae because deep down in my heart, I thought if I run against Ongwae, maybe he will beat me. So now it is for Raila to decide in his heart that if I choose to support Kalonzo, we win. Kalonzo or Musalia have no right to demand that Raila supports them. And in fact, when you do that, it means that you are afraid that you want to lose. And they want to lose, as I said, they are losing.
All right, DJ. I don't know what that says about the coalition negotiations and agreements and political negotiations that will be done in the boardrooms. But let's take a look at some of the feedback that has come through, beginning with Chemais Corril. You're saying that if the Baringo MCAs need prayers, what of the huge crowd in Cabernet? Honorable Kamket, that wave is dangerous and it will wave you out in the next election. Of course, I think he's talking about the Cabernet meeting of the Deputy President. Kineni Waembu, Deputy Governor should be given responsibilities for them to perform in Embu County. The Deputy Governor, David Kariuki, is the CEC Health, so there's no time he will be at loggerheads with Governor Wambora. I think that's provided for in the Constitution. Timothy Mutheki is saying that why is the deep state in panic mode? Why? It's because the Kenyans seem to be resonating with DP's ideas and masses are following him. We have the powers. President exercise our power, but not his. He must be able to control his emotions and not use police selectively. Of course, accusing the president. And DJ Fozi, you said that the worst mistake Uhuru did was to partially hand over power to Ruto when he was going to ICC. Ruto got too drunk with power and now wants it all. Well, that's your take. Jay, you're saying that is the DP running away from the president or the president running away from the deputy president? I think that's the question for all of us. We still don't have an answer, but that's our time. Deputy Governor for Kisii, Josh Mangi, asante sana for making time for us.
Thank you.
One, William Kamket from Tiati, he says that Senator Moi will be on the ballot in 2022. Asante sana for your time. And Anthony Oloch, Member of Parliament for Mathare constituency, asante sana for making time for us. Senator Irungu Kangata would have joined us, but he sent his apologies this morning. And up next is Sporting Monday. Willis Raburu is here with his team in a moment.